What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is my review for the 2017 film, A Ghost Story. So A Ghost Story is again a film that came out in 2017. It is an art house drama, and this is a film that I did review films back in 2017 on my channel, but this is one that I didn't review, and at first when I noticed that, I was like, wait a minute, why didn't I review that? Then I remember, the memory started flooding back, and I was like, oh, I remember. It's because my reaction to A Ghost Story wasn't really something that I could really put into words at the time. When I saw this film in 2017, July, I think it was like the very end of July, I saw it with two friends. One of them I unfortunately lost touch with, but the other one is one of my best friends, and we talk a lot. Anyways, the three of us, we saw this film in theaters, and the friend that I lost touch with, he did not like this film. He called it pretentious, the worst film of 2017. Totally get that. Understandable. My other friend, one of my best friends, he loved this film. He was emotionally moved by it. He called it a great film, easily one of his favorites. And me, I was in the middle. I thought it was a solid film, but I also thought that it was way too slow. Didn't really have much more to add to it other than that. Then, each passing year, because again, it's one of his favorite films of all time, my one friend and I, we would constantly be talking about this film over the course of the years, and we finally cut to 2021 when David Lowery, the director of A Ghost Story, then came out with The Green Knight. The Green Knight's a film that when I saw the premise and I saw the cast and who was behind and in front of the camera, I was like, you know what, I am 100% wanting to check this film out, especially because it's also an A24 film. I'll watch it. And I ended up loving The Green Knight, like loving it a lot, a lot, a lot. But also, interestingly enough, was that I noticed that some of the same elements, such as the focus on time and how it can pass a lot at the very core of your time, like you don't realize how far it passes. That whole core element is something that I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's something that was also focused in A Ghost Story. So, loving The Green Knight as much as I did and picking up on similar themes in both The Green Knight and A Ghost Story, as well as one of my best friends loving this film, got me to say, you know what, I'm going to buy this on eBay. And thankfully, I think I got it for like $8-9. I think it was brand new Blu-ray with the slipcover, so I was happy for that alone. But when I watched it the second time, I really, really liked it. Like, I was like, I'm so glad that I bought this on Blu-ray. It looks great, sounds great on Blu-ray, awesome. Then I watched it a third time today, and I went from just loving the visuals, loving the audio, really loving everything about it. The third time today was when the emotional aspect really hooked me, if you will. I was bawling my eyes out the last 10 minutes of this film. This film did a great, great job of really building to that last 10 minutes. And what I especially liked about this film is how, whether you've gone through depression for a little bit in your life or someone that deals with it every single day of your life, we all know that some days are better than others, if you've been dealing with it, of course. I know that's something I can say, at least from my own experience. Whether you have depression or have dealt with it at any point in your life, or are dealing with regret, looking back at your life, or just had the loss of a loved one, any of those things, you will be able to relate to this film. It might not necessarily be on first viewing. It might take 3 viewings, but for me, that's what happened. The third viewing, all those things really clicked, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I see what the director's doing. I see these choices at the end. Like, because I'm not gonna lie, the second time I watched it, I loved the last 10 minutes, like, loved, loved, loved. But I was more engulfed with the visual choices, the camera angles that they decided to do, the movement, the music choices. I was more engulfed with that. This time around, I loved all those elements, but I was more focused on the emotional aspect of the character, of the ghost. That's something that really took me off guard. I was like, holy cow, that was amazing. I really liked what they did. Now, that being said, this is not a film for everyone. A Ghost Story is a film that I don't remember quite if it was advertised or marketed, I should say, as a horror film back in 2017, but I don't think this is a horror film in the slightest. And I don't think you should go into this film expecting it to be a horror film or a comedy. Because I know back in the day I was watching like a Jimmy Kimmel clip. Some people made fun of the fact that apparently this ghost looks like the ghost in a Charlie Brown, I think The Great Pumpkin Mystery. I don't see it. I really don't. Like, I'm like, I never looked at this and was like, you know what, that's silly. I was always like, okay, I see what they're going for. Like, that's something that's interesting. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because if you go into this film with an open mind and are looking to have a rumination on all those themes that I just discussed, as well as just a really, really good exercise in filmmaking, I think you'll dig this film. But it's also a very slow film for many people. Like, I would not recommend this film to everyone. I would recommend it to people that can appreciate slow burn films, can appreciate films that are more so based in visual storytelling as opposed to dialogue, which is something I also want to mention. This film is about 85-90% of visual storytelling, meaning the visuals are doing all the work in terms of telling the story. So if you're someone that's not used to that, you're just going to be like, okay, this movie, there's no plot, it's boring, why aren't they talking, like, I don't understand, and it's just going to turn it off. But if you're someone that can say, you know what, take a step back and be like, okay, this is a lot of interesting choices. The cinematography, it's made to look like a snapshot with, with the aspect ratios. The color grading's made to look very depressing. These characters, they're not really talking that much because they don't really have much to say because they're grieving. All these elements, if you can take a step back and actually look at these elements, I think you'll really like the film. But again, if you don't and just immediately turn off at the fact that the film does take its time with things and does have certain things such as like someone eating a pie actually play out in real time, you're probably not going to like this film. But again, I would still say for those adventurous filmgoers, I would say check out A Ghost Story. I was emotionally moved by it, especially on third viewing. I do think it's a film that gets better with each viewing. And then not only that, I think it's a film that, with all the thematic richness of it, with the depth of the characters that come full circle in the last 10 minutes, there's a lot to peel back on this film. And I could talk about this film for hours on end, but I'm honestly just reviewing this film to let you guys know my brief thoughts and to say, hey, check this film out. It's pretty great. So for me, A Ghost Story, I'll be giving it a... Yeah, guys, A Ghost Story. Definitely, it's gone up in terms of my favorite 2017 films. I'll have to look back to see if it would be in my top 10. It's tough though because I do love A Ghost Story, and I do think that again, it's a pretty great film and just gets better with each viewing. So, A Ghost Story, guys, did you like it? Did you not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching. The subscription, notification bell, follow me on Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.